The Movie Preview Critic. Informing and entertaining your movie world.
This may hurt just a little.
No, please, please!
You're probably thinking, you're reviewing New Moon? It's a cheesy preteen soap opera. What's there to talk about? On the surface, it could seem like that. But if we look deeper, if we make our perspective wider and dig, we find that there are some archetypical elements that are timeless and appealing to each generation's discovery of their way through the world by seeking guidance from stories that speak to their time, place, and situation. For an in-depth review on that level, I recommend you watch my 20-minute preview review of Twilight from last year. There's a link in the description area here to that video. Also, before going any further, I just want to say I'm not here to bash this series. This review might get a little sarcastic, but it's in an effort to analyze, not to criticize with a mean spirit. So to briefly recap the first movie, an average girl moves to a rainy town where everyone likes her, especially the most handsome, emaciated-looking guy in school, who acts like a pervert, but becomes her hero and love interest. This is why Twilight's so popular, because every girl has the Cinderella syndrome. They want to be the center of attention, the belle, or Bella of the ball, or the swan princess that everyone wants. She figures out he's a vampire 4 times her age, which makes him even more of a creepoid, in that Dateline NBC To Catch a Predator kind of way. He tells her all the things every female wants to hear.
It means if you were smart, you'd stay away from me. What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
And they spend most of the movie staring at each other, almost kissing and whispering. And like Superman 2, when Lois Lane finally learned that Clark Kent was the Man of Steel, they begin a supernatural powered romance until a blonde dude who forgot his shirt starts making trouble, because of course, he wants Bella too. The movie ends with the vampire family tearing the blonde-haired dude apart, and Bella getting all girlfriend clingy obsessed when Edward tries to break up with her.
No! How? I don't even know what you're saying. How? What are you talking about? You want me to go away? I can't. No, I can't. I can't just leave you.
I don't know about you, but this isn't at all romantic. It's Fatal Attraction scary. Look at Edward's reaction here. You can just see the terror on his face. But I don't feel sorry for him, because that's what you get for chasing jailbait, Dracula. Based on the preview, the story of New Moon will most likely be something like this. Act 1 picks up where Twilight left off. Bella and Edward continue to live the 12-year-old girl's fantasy of finding a handsome guy who doesn't care about doing anything else except making his girlfriend the only purpose in his life.
You're my only reason to stay alive, if that's what I am.
Everything is fine until Bella accidentally gets a paper cut. And that makes little vampire Bobby Brady get all blood horny. Edward defends her, hurting Bella and destroying a piano. This is the reason Edward must leave? Not because there's a real threat, you know, from like rival vampires or even the werewolves. No, Twilight doesn't know how to create that kind of external conflict. Instead, Edward leaves because he can't control himself, because he doesn't want to be the one responsible for hurting her. This is where Act 2 starts. In most movies, this is where the main character begins an aggressive fight against an opponent in pursuit of an objective. But here, this story's not that dramatic. Bella's objective is to get Edward back, and Edward doesn't want to come back, so since he's not there to argue or resist Bella, there's no obvious conflict, which sends her into the I can't live without you teenage rite of passage depression. Does anyone else want to say, dude, just get over it. You hooked up, and then he dumped you. Welcome to the world of dating. Just because he's a vampire doesn't make him any different. He's still a guy. There's other fish in the sea who might actually care about you and don't look like they're always about to puke. So Bella gets kinda suicidal, like we didn't see that coming.
Okay, just don't. You just can't say stuff like that to me. Ever.
The justification here is that she's doing it because normally Edward can sense when she's in danger, and if she puts herself in harm's way, he'll come back to rescue her. But he doesn't, and instead, the quiet guy next door shows up, and he immediately starts spouting, "I've never had girlfriend dialogue like this."
I know what he did to you. But Bella, I won't ever hurt you.
Listen, Werewolf Kid, girls like bad boys, not nice guys. Your soon-to-be hurt feelings have been warned. At this point, New Moon basically becomes Twilight again, except Teen Wolf 2 replaces Edward, then Bob Marley Vampire shows up, offers to protect her, and says dirty old man lines like this.
But I can't help myself. You are so mouth-watering.
But before he can do anything, Eddie Munster, still thinking being in the nice guy is gonna get him some, shows up, transforms into his werewolf self, and defends her.
Jake, run!
There does seem to be a threat from the vampire government finding out that Bella knows too many vampire secrets.
You're a human who knows entirely too much about us. They could kill us all.
But don't expect that to create any Bourne Identity action sequences. More than likely, it'll be continue talking about Edward and blah 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 romantic notions until Bella receives word that Edward is gonna be killed. And surprise, the nice guy I care about you and would never use you or cheat on you gets screwed.
I have to go.
He left you, Bella. He didn't want you anymore.
If you're wondering why nice guys turn into assholes, here's your evidence. This is where Act 3 begins. Bella travels to vampire headquarters to plead for the life of her soulmate, and then Edward reveals his abs? Seriously, this movie has got way too many abs in it.
Abs.
Why wasn't this the title of the movie? So Edward has to fight in his bathrobe while Bella roots for him in the background. Has anyone else noticed that True Blood and Twilight are basically the same story? They're both about average girls that everyone wants, and some handsome vampire dudes they have more whipped than horses on the Oregon Trail. Can someone just make a crossover series titled Vampire Bitches? There's obviously an important story twist ending here that's not being shown in the preview. Something that sets up the third movie. Is the first 60 minutes of this sequel really going to be the same as the first movie? I would like Rastafarian Vampire and this girl from the end of the first movie to go to the Vampire Kingdom and tell the king and queen all about Bella and Edward's romance. Then Edward wouldn't have to leave because of a paper cut. He'd be hauled away as a prisoner. Then Bella and Werewolf Kid would have to go off and save him, which would mean that Wolf Boy would be defying the family code and putting himself at risk also. This works more dramatically. It creates a lot of conflict. Instead, we get half of the movie where Bella feels sorry for herself before anything happens. I know. Breaking up is hard to do, love hurts, losing your soulmate sucks, but that doesn't mean the story has to suffer as well. There are plenty of warning signs. I just wish there were some more layers here. The story already deals with the bonds of family, immortality, love, death, racism, and to some extent, war, here between two small rival creature clans. Is Twilight a Harlequin romance novel for tweens? Yes. Could it have been a little denser so that in your tweens you could appreciate the Romeo and Juliet romance? Then, as you reread it in your teens, you could relate with the desire to become your own independent person. Then again in your 20s, relate to the bigger life picture of a larger world and its politics. In your 30s, the desire for family and connections and so on. And whether we admit it or not, movies do communicate values. It would have been great if New Moon had grown a little bit, along with Bella, become a little more empowered, and addressed something more than,
Oh, shut up already and look at my...
The movie preview critic rates The Twilight Saga New Moon 2 different ways. First, for Twilight fans, it's worthy of big screen viewing at regular price. You've been saying holy that looks awesome since you've seen the previews. You'll see it because you love the actors, vampires, stories about star-crossed lovers, have obsessive-compulsive franchise disorder, and because it's an adaptation of a best-selling book, which will make for a great chick flick. Now, for those movie lovers who haven't decided if they'll be checking this out, it's rated unworthy of big screen viewing. See it as a rental. It's a creation of the Trilogy Syndrome with two-dimensional bad guys that's being made for the pre-existing fan base which guarantees box office. Backed by studio market research, New Moon is a sign of the movie apocalypse. But again, if you're a fan of the Twilight Saga, then defend your passion. You have my respect. As for the box office, look for it to make 80 to 90 million in the US opening weekend before making between 5 to 600 worldwide. Regarding New Moon's place in movie history, it should be better than Twilight, The Craft, The Covenant, and Cursed, but not better than Lost Boys, Interview with a Vampire, Underworld, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Until next time, choose your movies wisely because StoryCorp gives us more of what we pay for, and as always,
Long live good movies.